Welcome everyone to SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice. This week, we brave dangers in sim we'd never ever take on in real life. I'm speaking, of course, about traveling to Florida. Don't do it, guys. I'm Jim Hodgson. Joining me on commentary today, it is the triumphant return once more of Dane Baird. He's back with us this week. And in the production booth is our man, Jonathan Grabowski, twisting the knobs and riding the faders. So, season finale this week at Sebring Club, which is basically the top half of the track, looking at the track map. And these guys are already throwing down some unbelievable times. Dane, what can we expect in this final?
It's a bit of a weird layout, isn't it? Not used to seeing this one at Sebring. Normally we use the international layout here. But yeah, we cut out all the main section of the circuit, the start finish straight and the back straight as well. So not too many straights, but of course we know from the couple of seasons that we've done, these cars don't really need too many straights to make overtakes. So it should be a good race, should be close, sort of like what we saw at Monza Junior, I think, is something similar that we're going to see here today.
Yeah, great comparison. Of course, Monza Junior has some very long straights, and this layout does not, but there will be plenty of places for the cars to go wrong. I can assure you of that, not least of which being the hairpin, which is a place where I have wrecked many times this week in this car. So I would expect to see some carnage there. We do have a lot of cars on track today. 58, I believe, is the complete number, which is the most that we could have. So we've got a very full track today, and it's going to be an absolute ball. Let's look at the season standings so far. Jonathan, if you don't mind. And I believe I can... Oh dear, I've talked myself into a corner. Well, as you can see, the Spec 1 standings... Oof, let's go, tongue. Rafael Burbigal is at the top of the points, followed by Austin Winner, who just took over a place from Aero Nam. And they are followed by Foreigns Arabian and Maurizio Naselli in 5th place. Who's followed by Bohm, Dobek, Race, Manny, and Bobby West in 10th place. Now, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, that Dobek had a great qualifying today, so we should see big things from him. In Spec 2 standings, it's Miro Hraski at the top of the standings, followed closely a mere 16 points behind Nico Shook, who just took P2 over from Thomas Renders, 28 points out. They're followed by Claudio Vacalebre, Tom Gradwell, Joost Simpkins, Adam Bradshaw, Bob Kern, Brian D. Short, and Brett Nordstrom in 10th place. There will be lots of racing all up and down the timing tower today, and of course you will be able to tell your Spec 2 drivers because they'll have a number over 200. So expect to see a battle this week, as every week, between Hraski, Shook, Renders, Vacalebre. All those guys will be shooting it out for Spec 2. And whoever wins today in Spec 2 will be auto-upgraded to Spec 1 for next season. So it's an honor, isn't it, Dane? But also a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, you got to get those improvements going, otherwise you might be left behind. But as we've seen, the guys up at the top of Spec 2 have been in and around the midfield of the Spec 1 field, so they're not going to be too far behind when they do get bumped up. A couple of them might get bumped up just on iRating alone, because of course it's 3000 iRating is the buffer. So a couple of the Spec 2 drivers might be passing that as well. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a different field in terms of the specs for next season. So yeah, lots of the drivers still have quite a bit to play for.
Well, thank you so much. There is Alessandro Dalladone driving around in the grass there. I recognize his Commentatori Squadra Corsa livery because I made it, and I'm on that team. Well done, Alessandro, driving around in the grass. Thank you so much to the series sponsor, RaceVoice. RaceVoice is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. We could not do it without them. Thank you guys so much. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. You can hear miles per hour, turn entry and exit speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice. Plus, Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual sim pricing using the promo code of WW50. Check them out at www.racevoice.com. So we should be getting started here very shortly as we see another car spinning out there. That might have been Gasper's, the number 17 machine. We should have quite a race on tap today. I'm just checking the time. Yes, we've got a few minutes. So do we have the grid to look at? Things are moving. Perhaps we don't. Well, Dane, it's hard to believe that we're at the end of this series. I mean, it feels like we just started it.
Yeah, it's gone by quickly. 12 weeks, of course, we had that 1 week in the middle where it was more of an exhibition race because of a little mistake made in setting up the session, but racing was equally as good there. So drivers have been going at it for 11 weeks. This is the 12th one, of course, and I believe we might have a week 13 special event that the guys like to put on. But yeah, then we're straight back for another 12 weeks in 2 weeks' time for the second season of the year. So it is it's a fairly long season, but they do go by pretty quickly when the racing is as good as it has been.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, strength of field in this series, very, very high. There's some very good drivers in this series. It's just so much fun. I was talking about that with Stevie Ray just a moment ago. I mean, these guys are doing this just for fun and for pride. There's not any, nobody's here is getting rich or even getting any sort of a prize that I'm aware of. So we should be getting started here just shortly. Warm-up will be winding down and things will be occurring. Just ticking over the 10th minute now. I wondered if Berbergal would change his livery this week on account of Coming to America finally hitting theaters. But it looks like he's running in the same one.
Oh, here we go. I think just swapping over now into the race session.
Yep, we absolutely are. So, if we can look at your grid, everybody is just starting to grid up. Of course, at the top of the timing tower today, and who will start in first place, it is Austin Winner. We've seen him win many a race, but hasn't had such great luck in qualifying. He's followed, of course, by Rafael Berbergal and Maurizio Naselli in third place, which is nice. Great to see him perform so well, Naselli. Followed by Iro Nam, of course, our, we've seen plenty of him at the sharp part of the field this year. And then he's followed by Dobek. A great performance, I think, by Dobek to get a P5. He's followed by Foreign's Arabian, David Bohm, who hasn't quite gridded yet, Jörg Manny, David Gaspers. Surprising to me to see Gaspers all the way down in P9. Followed by Greg Stefani, Dominic Barreau, Sergio Durelli. I'm not sure we've seen him before. Welcome, Sergio. Glad to have you. Followed by Miro Haraski, who is our first Spec 2 driver there in 13th overall. He's followed by Bobby West, who's followed by Nico Shook, Mick Carr, Dan Sadro, who hasn't quite gridded yet, Jesus Rodriguez, Terry McAreevy, Thomas Renders, Tim Van Dormelen, I apologize, Tim, Ken Batley, Antonio Race, Angelica Pawlowski, Ian Haycox, Jim McGill, Chris Murakami, Rob Olenchek, I think I'm getting that wrong. I apologize, Rob. Gorka Starby, Tom Gradwell, Yuri Cox, Ian Gibson, Heinrich Kamara, Alessandro Daladon, Johan Butenga, Paolo Breme, Adam Bradshaw, Stevie Ray. Thank you so much for your hard work on this series, Stevie Ray. Claudio Vacalebre, Jeff Cantor, Paul Jackson, Jonathan Gaston Mino, Aaron Vagley, Yost Simpkins, Jeff Jacobson, Miguel A. Mata, Antonio Fuentes Jalbert, Chris Georgiandelis, Flavio Andalo, Stephen Mitchell, Mark Geehan, Mike Knudsen, Gary Walboat, David Swig, Patrick Moore, Jay William Smith, Louis Verloop, and Dan Sadro, all the way down in 58. Surprising.
A massive grid here today on a fairly small track.
Yeah, a very small track, I think. Sorry, everybody. We are having a little bit of technical difficulty. I cannot see the drivers, which is a bit of a problem. It looks like Antonio Race has had some kind of an issue. He's dropping down the timing tower. We have been racing for about 45 seconds now. Plenty is happening. Here I can see Winner now approaching. It looks like a group of three with Winner, Berbergal, and Nam in the top three. No, excuse me, it's Winner, Berbergal, and Arabian. I can see that from the timing tower. Followed by Nam, and it looks like Bohm just passed Gaspers, or Gaspers and Bohm are battling. And look at that pack of drivers. I can just see them in tower. Looks like we're going through 2 and 3 wide there. Already the fastest lap of the race by Winner at a 1:21.5. He must have just finished Fangio in order to complete a lap.
Yeah, and he's the top 3 or 4 drivers there have quite a bit of a gap now to Gaspers in that second train behind them. That second train is very, very long though. These 4 drivers have extended that gap just a bit. Aeronom slightly behind the top 3, but just about keeping up with them. As they're heading now under the bridge, down towards the hairpin, which will probably be one of the better overtaking spots on the circuit, you'd imagine. But I don't think we're going to be seeing anyone making any moves up in the top 3. They're going to be trying to save some fuel, as we often see. But there have been moves made further back in the field. The riding on board with Austin Winner, just looking back at Berbegal in second. And we're side by side here, Mira Hraski in 11th. And they're almost 3 wide as they head down in towards what I believe is turn 1. On this very weird configuration of Sebring, they sort of sort themselves into single file, but there's the 205 of Hraski with quite a bit of damage to the rear of his car, so maybe something has gone just a little bit wrong in the middle of the pack, as we see Rodriguez on the timing tower dropping down as well. He was off the circuit, so something might have happened in the back, and oh dear, Shook gets up on the grass and the curb on the outside and he's around.
Well, I did see Shook have some issues during practice, and it won't surprise me to find that he's gone around. It is very easy to do, done it a number of times myself.
Top 3 still close as ever. Berbegal with Arabian pushing him up towards Winner now, as they're going to come to start lap number 4. There's not really any distinguishable markings on the circuit to say where the lap or the start finish line is. So it's a bit of a guess as to where the drivers are going to cross the line and start the next lap, but they're now on lap 4. Top 3 still separated by just under half a second. And Ironom just about half a second behind. But that gap between Nom and Gaspers now, so the top 4 drivers all in a bit of a train, and then the gap between Nom and Gaspers just over 4 seconds now, so really extending their advantage up at the front. Just under 5 minutes gone. And they're going 2 wide in the background. I think that might be Bohm, Bro and De Beck going side by side. And Bro keeping ahead of De Beck into the hairpin. We can see now, very close together are these cars. You can see they're side by side in the background there as well. The 42 of De Beck with quite a lot of damage. As a Nom sets the fastest lap of the race. And that's Barreau up the inside of Bohm there. And he moves himself up into 6th position. Iro Nom has pretty much caught up to the back of the top 3 now. So top 3 has become a top 4 train. And almost 6 seconds is the gap between these top 4 and the drivers behind. So just sitting in the draft of Winner, these 3 drivers behind, saving fuel a little bit, so they can get the shortest pit stop possible when they do go for that. Pit entry here is a bit of a weird one. You've got to really commit quite early to the pit entry, which is almost at a 90-degree angle to the wall. So it's a bit of a weird pit entry here at the Sebring Club circuit. You can see in the background of the shot there, Gasper's miles behind the rest of them. This looks like Murakami going up the inside of Renders. And he moves himself up into 19th. Arabian with the fastest lap of the race, instantly beaten by Nom. 113.927. Winner and Arabian. Winner's dropped back. Burbergal has gone for a move and Arabian's followed him through. They're just about side by side and Winner has had to drop back. So into turn 1, Burbergal and Arabian get through. Winner cycles back into 3rd. Nom stays in 4th. Oh, and Arabian now down the inside, which will become the outside, of course, for this next left-hander. Looking to try and take the lead. A little bit up on the curb, and he's still side by side. Winner might try to follow him through as well. No, Winner's going to go to the outside. Are they going to go 3 wide on lap 6 in towards the hairpin? Arabian on the inside with Burbergal in the middle. Winner goes back to the... Oh, Burbergal cuts in front of Winner. He's not having any of that. Trying to go around the outside into the hairpin. He's not going to be able to. Can he get the cut back? No, he can't. So Arabian up into the lead of the race, but Burbergal gets the better exit. He's going to try and go around the outside through the right and then to the left. That is the inside, but it will be the outside for the next braking zone. Very little time between corners here, of course. And Arabian almost contact made side by side into turn 1, and Burbergal makes the move, and I think he's made it stick. He's got ahead. Winner has to just back out of that one as well. Arabian pushing Burbergal through the braking zone now. But this fighting has allowed Gasper to catch up. The gap now only 4 seconds between him and Nom. So a little bit of drivers going side by side further back in the field, but Winner's dropped back slightly from Burbergal and Arabian, not wanting to get involved in that battle they were having. Jim McGill in 17th. He's got car just in front of him, quite a damaged car in front of him, and he's going to look to the outside, then goes to the inside, down the inside in towards the hairpin, sends it under the braking. I think he might have just got it done. A little bit of contact there, a little bit of door banging, and he's going to get pushed now from, it looks like, Pavlovsky. Up towards the start finish line they go. Gaspers with the personal best on that lap. 3 wide now in towards turn number 1. Pavlovsky files back, and looks like Carr has got the speed around the outside. No, he hasn't. He's gone a bit too deep. Side by side still. Pavlovsky is now up the inside of McGill. McGill will have the inside for the next corner. Thought for a moment he was going to try and send it down the inside of Carr, but that's not going to work. Oh, and Pavlovsky's a little bit loose there. Has to try and catch the rear end. That's allowed Murakami to catch up now in the 0-1 machine. So he's going to be joining this battle, as it looks like the driver off the number 45 has just got past the renders there in the background of the shot. But Carr holds on to 16th for now. And Burbergal has held on to the lead of the race, with Arabian just behind, closely followed by Winner and Nom. Gaspers, or the lead between, or the gap between Nom and Gaspers has increased to around about 4.4 seconds now. Oh, the battle heating up now between Hraski and Durelli. It looks like West is involved in this one as well. West far on the inside, looking to go 3 wide, but not committing. Hraski's been overtaken now by Durelli, but he's not going to let West pass, and you can see him Bailey just behind as well. And then the group of cars we were watching earlier, Carr, McGill, Pavlowski and Murakami, closely follow behind.
Well, what a race it's been, and I'm speaking, of course, of the race between myself and my computer trying to get all of this to work, but it appears to be working, Dane. Thank you so much for all of that coverage.
Anytime.
We were looking there just a moment ago at Alessandro Deladon. So here is our lead group. Not surprising to see these 4 cars out in the lead together, of course. We have seen it many times before, and it looks like, as I'm sure you've mentioned, Dane, they do have a little bit of gap on Gaspers. But more than likely, these 4 cars will be the 4 as we go on. Arabian all over the rear of Berbergal's lid there, his rear deck lid, and Winner not too far behind. Nam's going to have to be careful if he doesn't want to get gapped off of these guys, which I'm sure he does not. Let's take a look back at Spec 2 now that we can see anything at all. We're taking a look at Naselli here, but if we could just move back to Haraski and take a look, there he is, running in the 205 machine. He's all over the rear of West's car there in the number 89 car. Haraski leading Spec 2. There he is with his number over 200 and 205. And I believe second in Spec 2 so far, we have Renders running 20th overall. And then down in 24th overall, a Starbay in the 567 machine. So plenty of racing going on as per usual. Not just the leaders. You know, Dan, I'm pleased at how little carnage we've had so far. Most of it appears to have taken place inside my computer.
Barreau is off the circuit, back on now. I think there on the inside of the hairpin. So what has happened to Barreau in the 108? Car is just catching up now.
Here's our replay. It looks like just an unforced error there. Yeah, I've done that many times myself. Very easy to do. Actually, not a bad quick switch into reverse to get off of the surface there on Barreau's part. But, you know, you want to rotate this car under braking, but if you go just a millimeter too far, it will go around on you. And here we have Barreau looking at the rear of Carr. Now this turn here that we're about to approach, I believe is 6 in this configuration, but it's a very easy place to have an issue. It's just a flat 90-degree turn, Dane. You wouldn't think it would be any sort of a problem, but for some reason, it is troublesome.
Well, I've not driven this layout much myself, but I would imagine it'll be fairly bumpy. I think it's safe to say here at Sebring.
That is the sort of the distinguishing feature of Sebring. But the big trouble for that turn is there's no marker at all. The tarmac all looks the same. There are no markers at the side of the track. There's no trees. There's nothing. It's just grass and asphalt. So it looks like Dobek into the pits there in the rear, unless I'm mistaken. And Haraski looks like will pit as well. This is Naselli. And is that Manny and Stefani just behind?
It is, and Stefani's all over the rear of Naselli now as they head into the second sector.
Looks like Naselli is befallen some mischief. A little bit, the car's looking a little bit beat up.
Yeah, a couple of cars have got quite a bit of damage to them. You can see there's a bit to the front right of Manny as well, riding on board with Stefani, looking back at Manny. You can see the gap. Most of the top four within 2 seconds, then Gasper's 7 seconds behind, and then 7 seconds behind him is Naselli. So quite massive gaps between the top four and the rest of the field. As Manny's actually just centered up the inside there, a little bit deep was Stefani. Berbergal sets the fastest lap of the race. Gaspers heads into the pits, but these two are still side by side.
Well, viewers, to give you any idea of how fast these guys are, I'm pretty proud to get into the 115s, and they have been, of course, lapping in the 14s all day and now dipping down into the 13s in Berbergal's case. So very, very fast, particularly just by the look, I would bet that the track temp is getting up there as well. So this is a replay of Jalbert has had some sort of an issue. The number 357 car. What's happened to Jalbert? There's Haraski behind. Oh, he's gotten off the track there, the hairpin. It doesn't look like he's suffered anything too major. He might lose that place to Haraski, however.
He's running a little bit wide there. Not getting any sort of traction out on the grass. Daladon is off the circuit. Down in 22nd.
Well, guys, Alessandro and I and a lot of the commentators race on a team together. He's racing in the Commentatori Squadra Corsa racing livery there. So he gets extra heaping shame after the end of the broadcast for any mistakes he's made, and he's made quite a few.
And quite a bit of damage to that car as well, so it's like he's been involved in his fair share of incidents.
Ooh, somebody needs to fix that livery and center up that center bit there, don't they? That is my responsibility, Dane. I really blew it.
And he heads down into the pits because of that damage, you would assume. 17 minutes on the clock, so 23 to go. And the pit exit comes out. I thought that was a different part of the circuit we were looking at there. Sebring looks quite similar. Here it is. On the left-hand side, that is the pit exit, so it comes out right onto the racing line. So a bit worrisome heading out of the pits. Even worse if you are coming around that corner and you see a car just suddenly appear from the barriers.
It is that way, and especially since these cars on cold tires, very, very hard to control on cold tires. Is that Race around in the rear there? No, Elson, I believe.
I think it was Jacobson that was off and lost quite a few positions, and he was just stuck on the outside there, had nowhere to go. He couldn't come back on the track because that's the racing line and there were cars coming by.
Well, wise of him to take it easy there. That is something that people in official races will not do for you.
Oh, a bit of a defensive line there from the 734. Had Jacobson looking towards the inside, but yeah, you just shut the door right in his face. Now you've got a winner pushing Arabian down the back straight in towards the hairpin, trying to catch up to Burbergal. The gap increased slightly over the last couple of laps, maybe some traffic getting involved as well. But they have caught back up now, nearing the halfway point of the race. Wonder when we're going to see the first of the top four making their pit stops. Nom has dropped back slightly, unfortunately.
Well, you would certainly expect the pit window to be opening shortly. Well, it's probably already open, really. Plenty of fuel to finish the race if one were to stop now. Nobody blinking yet from the leaders. You know, if I'm Nom, I might just go on and dip in since I'm kind of off of this group anyway, as Burbergal steps off the track. And the number 55 machine, isn't that Breme, has just gotten out of the way of the leaders.
Ooh, and he's just seemingly lost the rear as we cut away from him there. But Arabian seemingly not having the pace through the middle sector to keep up with Burbergal, but of course the draft then helps him keep up with Winner just behind, giving him a helpful shove from behind. As Barreau was off track for a brief moment. Looks like maybe just a couple wheels off in the grass. But I think you might be right, Nom dropping back even more now. Definitely not within the drafting range. If these guys don't start to pit soon, I would probably make my way down myself.
Yeah, why not? Throw a wrench in the works. Nom decides to stay out, however, for at least one more lap. There's Murakami in the red and white car, following Barreau, and a battle going on behind between Batley and Renders. Renders currently running first in Spec 2, I believe, followed by Astarbe and Bradshaw in Spec 2, in the 567 and the 228 machines, respectively. There's something about this track, Dane, and this car where it just feels like constantly a moving target. You know, as the tires start to go off, your braking points move, and in the Spec Racer Ford, if you make a mistake, the car goes around. So it's almost as if it's like you build up some confidence and then it just bites you.
Yeah, definitely it seems like it would be an easier car to drive, but that is definitely not the case. As we see a huge gaggle of cars here in the back of the field, or in the bottom half of the field.
Dalladone menacing Jacobson.
And he's got some company just behind as well. You can see a massive train of cars here. Oh, and there's someone off.
Looks like there's an issue ahead, yeah.
It's
so you just look at that track. you look at that section of track right there. Is that Jacobson? Maybe? Race? 415. You can look at that section of track and there's nothing to tell you when to brake. So it's just kind of a guessing game every time. And we're going to get a replay here. Keep your eye on that 415 machine there. I believe he loses. Oh, he's got a connection issue.
Well, that must be really distracting for a race there.
Yeah, I do love it when the cars are flying up and down in the air and things. Isn't that?
I think I saw Sadro spun in the background. Looked like Sadro's paint. That's the only thing I could see about the car was the paint. It was too far away to see what number it was. But I think it was Dan Sadro. I think he lost connection as well just before the race started, so he might be a bit further down the field than he would have liked to be.
Annoying. Well, here we are. Just into the second half of the race now. You would expect to see some of the leaders, as Dane mentioned, start to come down. Nobody yet has pitted all the way down to Bohm is the first person on the track currently who has taken a pit stop. Everybody else, Bohm currently running in 17th. So everybody from 16th down still out on track. We'll see who blinks first. Driver off there at that corner I was talking about just a moment ago. It just seems like you could take it so fast, but it does not. That does not work out in practice, or it doesn't work out for me anyway. So we're starting to catch up to some of the rear of the field here, riding on board with Arabian, looking forward at Berbigal's car. As Dane was saying, this is probably one of the best overtaking spots, maybe the best overtaking spot on the track. Arabian closing up a lot of space to Berbigal's car. Berbigal a little bit held up by the machine ahead. But even though that's one of the best overtaking spots on the track down into the hairpin there, is Arabian going to try a pass on Berbigal here? He might indeed. Just all over the rear of his car. Berbigal takes a slightly defensive line there to hold Arabian at bay while he tries to deal with this car ahead. The trouble with passing down into that hairpin, though, is you're at the very limit of what the brakes can do. And if you add any extra sort of input as that car pulls to the side to let the leaders through, some excellent racing back there. If you add any extra input while the car is loaded up like that, it will go around. So while it's your best chance to pass, it's also not as great as it might seem that it would be. Is that Murakami slowing down to let the leaders by in the red and white car? Well, there they are, your lead group, Berbigal, Arabian, and winner. Nam is really losing contact here, Dave.
Yeah, it's unlike him. We don't normally see him drop back like this. Obviously, multiple champion of the series as well. Although I do believe that was a few years ago. But he's been right up there the entire season. And yeah, doesn't seem to have the pace to keep up today. For whatever reason, Arabian very, very close to Berbigal there. As they come to start lap 21.
Well, we just had a look at renders. Still leading Spec 2. There is Bohm, and I believe that must be Cox and Bradshaw, and then Dobek, who qualified. Wasn't he in P6? Didn't he start in P6? So he's had some terrible misfortune. We have seen him head into the pits, though, so that held him up a little bit. And there goes Cox into the pits, managing a somewhat squirrely car in the braking there to get his speed down in the pit zone.
Oh dear.
Well, Stevie Ray just punted Gradwell there. Well, these things do happen, and here come the leaders. Gradwell will no doubt be annoyed at getting a little taparoo in the rear of the car. He does tap the brakes a little bit. He's going to let the leaders go on by. Gradwell decides not to pit. Interesting. Has he already taken his pits? I'm just checking now.
Yes, he has.
Well done,
Pitted
Dave.
on lap 17.
Well, Naselli into the pits
Oh,
now, and a
dear.
guy jumps in front of Winner's car and goes around. Winner keeps it more or less on the straight and narrow, but would like to see a replay of that if possible. I don't know what happened there, if that car didn't realize that Winner was about to pass, or what happened. But anyway,
Looks
now
like a lot of people heading into the pits. We might see the leaders come by this time because we're nearing that 28-minute mark that we so often see everyone pitting.
Yep, Naselli has pitted now. Becalebre, Monterelli, and Burrow coming out of the pits. Batley out, Murakami out. And now Nam and Winner are together as they pass Stevie Ray, series organizer. Winner dives into the pits just ahead of Nam. Interesting. Okay, here's a replay of what happened to Winner here. Oh, it was a car coming out of the pits and just moved over. Dane, that is exactly what you were talking about at the top of the broadcast.
It absolutely is. That pit exit is begging for trouble, as I think Nom might have had a bit of a longer stop than Winner. Yeah, it was a second and a half longer, but he spent an extra 2 seconds in the pit lane. So he's lost out a little bit there, as Nom.
Well, Burbigal's a little bit the last man standing now. He has not pitted, nor have Manny and Astarbe. But just about everybody else has been into the pits. So you would expect Burbigal to come on down here in a second. We'll find out. Well, if he's got a strategy, if he feels like he's got a little bit of clear track, he might decide to stay out. There he is. Let's see what he does as he goes by. And he dives in. So Burbigal pits out of the lead. Arabian will inherit the lead now from Winner. So this could really work out well for the Arabian, the Winner, and the Noms of the world. We'll see how long Burbigal is in the pits and where he comes out. Arabian should any moment now become your leader.
Oh, it's a long stop for Burbigal, 11.3 seconds. That's a good 2 seconds longer than Arabian. And Arabian has come out in front. You can see there, Winner's just on the back of Burbigal as he comes out. Arabian got held up a little bit by some traffic coming out of the pits as well. But Arabian has around about a second of a lead. But that second will come down shortly, you would imagine. Burbigal's looking pretty fast here today. And of course the draft would help him out there as well.
Absolutely. Burbigal flirting with putting a wheel into the dirt there. It is certain death if you do. Arabian trying to get around this lapped car, but that car giving him a little bit of a hard time. Arabian would love to make this pass this time, and he does. But he goes deep, and now they're all together once more. Nose to tail, Arabian, Burbigal, Winner. These guys are all going to try to make a pass here. Burbigal's going to try to make a pass. Winner is going to get behind Burbigal and try to lock Arabian out. And then there's that other car over there. It's just like, it's like mom and dad are fighting and you just want to hide upstairs. So here's Burbigal, and Burbigal takes the lead from Arabian. And now they have a little gap on Winner. Arabian has a little look at the inside of Burbigal, can't make it happen. Manny into the pits out of 5th place. So just under 10 minutes to go here, and look at this traffic, would you?
Oh dear, just in front of the 357, someone going off and into the barriers up on that curb, huge curb on the outside there.
That is the 377 machine of Joost Simpkins.
Yeah, well, he faced a punishment for that, and punishment was in the shape of a tire barrier.
Yep. Was it Simpkins who got in front of Arabian a minute ago? Or Winner, I mean? Well, racing incident, right? Since we don't have any stewards, I think I can
Every
safely
incident's
say
a racing incident.
yeah, all incidents are racing incidents. Berbigal looks to have a pass there on a lapped car. Hope he manages to keep himself out of trouble. That is the number 22 machine. We saw him off the track a moment ago, and his car looks like it has been set upon by wild animals.
Renders was just off the track and was passed by Murakami, so I wonder if something's gone wrong with Renders. He's losing a lot of time.
Oh dear. So while these guys sort this out, it looks like they've got some pretty clear track here. Let's take a quick look at our Spec 2 standings. Brasky down in 13th, leading Spec 2 at the moment. Thank you, Johnny Grabs, for that quick camera change. Brasky in the 205 machine. And in second place here is this man, Renders, whom he seems to be going along fairly well since with, a car that looks like, I don't know, he drove it off a cliff. And in third place, a Starbait in the 567 machine. There he is, a nice plum-colored Spec Racer Ford, currently being menaced by Alessandro Daladon. Teammate of mine, a general scoundrel of all kinds. Dane, are you aware that we very nearly didn't complete a race this weekend because Alessandro got so many incident points during that race?
I was not aware of that, but I'll be sure to remind him when I'm next in the booth with him.
Sam Fitzpatrick had to do his entire stint with 0 incidents.
I don't believe he did that.
I know, it's hard to believe, but true. Well, Nam in the rear there, hopefully Nam is getting sort of more used to the track now. You can just see him at the top of your picture as we go to a replay. We're going to see, has Daladon had some sort of an incident? Ooh. Keep it clean out there, Alessandro. All's well.
Got very close.
Yeah. Yeah, very close.
Maybe
Almost
a bit
had to
too
have a
close
stern
for
talk.
the drivers.
Send him a strongly worded letter. I would threaten to kick him off the team, but he is, of course, the leader. And speaking of leaders, here they are. Still nose to tail. I'm really hoping, Dane, that Nam is able to kind of catch up now as we sort of, if we get down on fuel a little bit. But as I said, when the tires start to go off on this car, it gets really unpredictable. Arabian taking some grass, and not in a good way. Gap to Nam, I'm guessing, well, it's 2 seconds plus, isn't it? I'd love to see him be able to close that up. Berbigal seems to just be able to scamper away from these guys just the littlest bit.
Oh dear, Dorelli, what's happened to Dorelli? He's just lost a whole bunch of positions and is just towed back to the pit lane.
Oh no.
He was doing so well, I think up in near about the top 10. He's lost it, he's lost it. Oh.
Yeah. Pretty big hit for the Argentinian. Sad to see. He should be able to continue, though. Tow back to the pits and get himself a fast repair. And at least get back on track and be able to finish the race. I hope he will, anyhow. Speaking of back out on track and finishing the race, it looks like Shook is out. Down in 58th, one of our regular top finishers in Spec 2 is Shook. Just checking to see where he is in the Spec 2 championship. He is in second place. So with him all the way out of this race, he might be vulnerable to guys like Renders and Vacalebre in the Spec 2 championship, which will be annoying. There are your leaders once again. Just about to catch Stevie Ray there in the silver car.
Ooh. Thought Arabian might not make the corner there. He went a little bit deep. Just reminding Berbigal he's still there. With just under 4 minutes to go. Berbigal will start feeling the pressure now, I think.
Yes, this is the moment of the race when, if you're ahead of Burbagall, you certainly feel the pressure. So it's only fair that he should feel the same when it is his buttocks in the hot seat. Now let's see if they're what. I don't think that. Well, winner 30 points behind Burbagall. So Burbagall, if we finish the way that we are, we probably wouldn't have too much change to the championship points. Of course, these guys are all friends and they race together every week, so it's not the most bitter of rivalries, as we see Burbagall getting around series organizer Stevie Ray there. There is Hrasky. Oh dear. Come on, Miro. Try to keep it on the track, pal. Oh dear. So anyway, I don't think there will be too much shakeup in the points if we were to finish as we are. So there's no real reason to try any sort of a stamp licking full send kind of a move. But Dane, that doesn't mean that it won't happen.
Yeah, we always tend to see those things happening at the end of the races. Last week at Laguna Seca, Charlotte as well. They always seem to give us some action right at the very end of the race. So 2 minutes to go. Now's your cue, and there we go. Arabian sends it up the inside, around the outside, and now the inside. He takes the race lead. Winner. Looks like he might have got a bit of a better exit. Oh, he gets up on the curb and on the dust. That's going to compromise him slightly. There's a lap car just in front now, and Burbagall's trying to box Arabian in, but instead the lap car moves in front, and now they're going 3 wide towards the hairpin.
So Arabian tried a cheeky little capitalized move when Burbagall was held up by the number 244 car, but then it worked against him again, and now we have a side-by-side with Winner just behind, battle for the lead with just 2 minutes to go. This could be deciding the race right here. Winner is going to try to follow Burbagall past Arabian. Arabian has the inside, the braking zone here. Cars doing everything they can to stay out of one another. Winner now deciding to try, well, maybe I'll follow Arabian through. Arabian will have the inside here. Arabian now just a nose ahead of Burbagall, but Burbagall is able to take it back. Oh, Burbagall gets a little slide there, but manages to keep it straight. Arabian in the lead will have the inside of the corner now. Winner tries a move through. Winner alongside Burbagall. Let's see how we handle this section, which would be turns 3, but I believe now is 7 on this configuration. So now Arabian in the lead with a little gap on Burbagall, who's got Winner all over the rear of his car. What an exchange. Arabian driving defensively. Well, this could be a big mess in the hairpin here. A little bit of smoke from Arabian's tires, barely able to keep it on the track, but just does. But Winner now a nose ahead of Arabian, and they're both ahead of Burbagall. What a last lap this is going to be. This is going to be the end of the race. Winner takes the win ahead of Arabian, but only just that day. And that had to be like the front 3 inches of his car. Nam drives off the circuit in what must be annoyment, if not disgust. But what a last lap there. We didn't even know it was the last lap.
It was very tight, wasn't it? A couple seconds in it at most. Between finishing the race and having an extra lap. But Winner just taking advantage there, sending it up the inside, and then Arabian ran a little bit deep, and that allowed him to go alongside and get just a slightly better run. But it was still very, very close when they came across the line. Hrasky takes the win in Spec 2 as well.
Yeah, congrats to Hrasky. So let's see, will there be any big change in Spec 2? No, Hrasky, I believe, of course, these are, oh dear, Render's getting into Alessandro. These are unofficial results. You will have to go to Stevie Ray Series Organizer to get the official results, but I believe Hrasky will take the Spec 2 championship, which means we will see him in Spec 1 next season. There is West, and Haraski is just behind. There is Bohm and Dobek and a white car I've never seen before. Well, what a race. There was the race on track, and I was racing to try to get the cameras to work. There's Jerry McAreevy. We didn't see too much of him today. Hopefully some drivers will stop by to have a chat with us. I do believe we're going to have a special guest today here in just a moment, unless I'm very much mistaken. And those car numbers going black there on the timing tower means that the demo derby has begun. It must be taking place at the end of the hairpin. So here are your results. Austin Winner takes the win, snatches it out of Foreign Arabian's jaws. And both of them get ahead of Rafael Berbigal, followed by Nam, as we see cars tumbling through the air in the background. Maurizio Naselli in P5, followed by David Bohm. Michael Dobek, Jürgen Manny, Bobby West there in P9. Great finish for him. Dominique Barreau in 10th. Miro Haraski, your Spec 2 winner, 11th overall. Expect to see him at the top of the timing tower next year, just like he is now in 11th place. Followed by Greg Stefani, Jim McGill, Tim Van Dormelen, Chris Murakami, Mick Carr, Alessandro Deladon finishes 17th, surprising. Followed by Thomas Renders, who I believe is second in Spec 2. Renders is followed by last season's Spec 2 winner, Antonio Reyes, in the 007 machine, followed by Rob. I want to get this right, Rob. I think it might be Olenicek. You'll have to tell me what it is, Rob. Get with me on the Discord. I want to say it right. Gorka Estarbe, I believe he is P3 in Spec 2 today. Yuri Cox, followed by Jerry McAreevy, Claudio Vacalebri, Adam Bradshaw, Henrik Kamara, Tom Gradwell, and Jonathan Mino down in 28th. In 29th, it was Aaron Viegli, followed by Jeff Cantor, series organizer Stevie Ray, Jeff Jacobson, Mike Knudsen, Jay William Smith, Mark Gehan, Flavio Andalo, Antonio Jalbert, and Johan Butenga in 38th. Butenga is followed in 39th by none other than Ken Batley, who's followed by Ian Gibson, Yost Simpkins, Paul Jackson, Chris George Andelis, Gary Walbolt, Miguel A. Mata, Ian Haycox, Patrick Moore, and Stephen Mitchell. Mitchell, of course, followed by Louis Verloop, Sergio Durelli, Angelica Palowski, Stephen Elson, Dan Saldro, Paulo Breme, David Gaspers, Jesus A. Rodriguez, I'm sure it is, David Swig, and Nico Shook. A lot of names we're really familiar with at the lower end of the timing tower there. Sad to see that. Now, let's hear from some of the folks who were just at the top of the timing tower there. Let's hear from winner Austin. What a finish. That was quite an end to the race there. Can you hear us? And what was going through your mind on that last lap?
Loud and clear. I didn't think I had much of a chance to win. I had a good run on Berbigal coming out of the, I don't know, whatever it is, to the entrance of that long straightaway. And I was going to make a move, and then he pulled out to make a move on Foreign. So it's like, wow, you are way back to try this move. So I just tucked back in to take the, larger radius. And he sent it in there, made a little tap, slowed Foreign's down, and I could scamper on by to win.
Yeah, it looked like you were kind of like trying to pick your horse there between sometimes you're behind Berbigal and then you think to yourself, I don't know. Now Foreign's is going to have the geometry, so maybe I'll go with him.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Berbigal, I knew he was in the championship lead, so usually I would try to pick Foreign's just so, well, if I don't win, at least Berbigal doesn't win, but I don't think I would have made up enough points to win anyway.
Well, I mean, it's all for fun anyway, right? This is nobody's job. This is just just a bunch of friends having fun on a Sunday.
Absolutely, and a ton of fun it is.
Yeah, well, quite a finish. Just across the start-finish line by a nose there. So it's been such a fun season. Any thoughts about wrapping up the season, and are you looking forward to racing next season?
Yeah, I think congrats to Berbigal. I'm sure he won the championship without running the points. And thank you, Stevie Ray, for setting us all up with a great league and herding all our cats to show up on Sunday afternoon. I think next season, as long as, I've been fortunate in a way to have this as an outlet during COVID. Normally I don't have Sundays free, so hopefully I'll be around, or if not, I'm doing something else that's fun.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Well, thanks so much for hanging with us all season long. We hope to see you some more next season. It has been a ball. And that is your winner, Austin winner. Well, we're getting a little bit low on time, guys, but as I said, we do have a special guest that we definitely want to speak to, and I see him waiting in the interview waiting area. Dane, would you like to talk to Steve Ray? Here he is.
Hey, guys.
Stevie Ray, thank you so much for everything you have done in organizing this series. As you know, I love it so much. It's just the highlight of my week every week. So thank you. This has been hilarious and fun, and what a finish to the race today.
I'm anxious to watch the replay. I won't take up much time. I just wanted to have a chance to thank everybody in the league. They hear me say it every time, but the league's nothing without the guys on track every week. So a huge thanks to those guys that come out and race so clean and motivated like that. Huge thanks to RaceVoice. Without them, we wouldn't be able to share our race with family and friends like we do, and that means a lot to this group. And thanks to you guys. You guys put on a professional broadcast each and every week. Great job. I know we're hooking you, so it was good to see Jim in the mix all season long in the official races and the fun races. That was good.
Yeah, I can't help myself. I do love that car. So what are your thoughts for next season? Any surprises in store? What are we looking at?
We've got a pretty good formula, I think. I do have one change coming up that will affect the league some, and I'll just tease it with that. It'll just add to another layer of the fun. So
yeah.
Stay tuned.
Well, I can't wait. Well, congratulations to you on your success putting together such a great league. Congratulations to the winners of the league, of course. Great wins today by Haraski and Winner, of course. I've just loved being a part of this all season long, and can't wait for next season. Thank you so much, Stevie.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Well, there you have it, guys. We do have a couple other drivers waiting for interviews, but we are out of time on the broadcast. And unfortunately, Dane, we are out of time on the season as well.
Yeah, it's quite sad, but we do have, of course, the season starting again. Brand new season in a couple of weeks' time, so it's not going to be too long until we have Spec Racer for Weekend Warriors back on Apex Racing TV. But yeah, the last 12 weeks have been absolutely incredible. It's been fantastic racing throughout. We haven't had a boring race for the entire 2 seasons that we broadcasted it, so it's been great.
Yeah, no, we have had some unbelievable racing. I can't wait for the next season. Guys, do join us. Come on back and watch some of this. It is so much fun. And hey, if you got a little bit of time on a Sunday, why not race with these guys? They're a lot of fun, and they got a great community going in a couple of different leagues. So lots of fun to hang out with. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today for SRF Weekend Warriors, presented by RaceVoice, coming to you from Sebring International Raceway, the club layout, if you can believe it. Looking forward to next season. I am Jim Hodgson for Dane Baird and Jonathan Grabowski. We will see you next time.